Morocco face France without Saibari, and the counterattack risk is obvious. Can Morocco control the damage? Starmer teases a bank holiday, Egypt goes to FIFA. Infantino faces an ethics complaint. But first on Tablo Sports, Saibari is out before France. The first story has immediate match consequences. No courtroom, no politics, no vague tournament mood music. Morocco have a team selection problem before France, and it changes the way this quarterfinal can breathe. Morocco dealt Saibari injury blow before France World Cup quarterfinal. The easy headline is that Morocco have lost a player. The sharper point is that they may have lost a pressure release valve. Against France, every transition touch matters, because one loose pass can turn into a sprint race Morocco do not want. This injury forces Morocco to choose between control, legs, and bravery in a quarterfinal where hiding for 90 minutes is not a plan. Reports from Al Jazeera and ESPN say Ismael Saibari will miss Morocco's World Cup quarterfinal against France through injury. That is the hard football fact. Morocco are in the last 8, France are waiting, and Saibari is not available for the match, according to those reports. Not a side note. Look, Morocco's route in a match like this depends on clean moments after they win the ball. They need players who can receive under pressure, carry that first pass away from danger, and make France turn around instead of letting France camp on the edge of the box for wave after wave. Without Saibari, the choice becomes awkward. A safer runner, a more defensive body, or someone trusted to connect the counterattack without turning every possession into a clearance drill. That detail matters. Morocco supporters are already asking how much this changes the counterattacking plan, and honestly, they are right to worry. France do not need many invitations. If Morocco lose the first pass out, the second wave arrives fast, and suddenly the quarterfinal becomes less about belief and more about surviving territory against a side built to punish panic. And while Morocco are counting fit midfielders, England's run has moved into that very English zone where football becomes a national scheduling debate. It sounds light, but it tells you how heavy this quarterfinal run already feels. Starmer hints at bank holiday if England win World Cup. The bank holiday line is fun, but it is also a pressure amplifier dressed up as a reward. England have not won the World Cup here. They are in the quarterfinals with Norway next. Politicians love a football wave when it is moving forward, because nobody wants to be the person standing beside national joy with a clipboard. BBC reports Keir Starmer has hinted at a possible bank holiday if England win the World Cup. Manchester Evening News also frames it as a World Cup bank holiday update. Important caution, this is not confirmed. It is not a bank holiday for reaching the quarterfinal, and it is not a signed national promise waiting in a drawer for full time. The reporting we have says hinted, and hinted is doing a lot of work there. England face Norway next, and the public mood is already doing what it always does when England get close enough to smell something. The country starts mentally blocking out calendar space before the hardest match has been played. You already know where this is going. If England win, the bank holiday chat becomes part of the emotional fuel. If they lose, it becomes another screenshot thrown back at everyone by breakfast. Honestly, it is a little absurd, but it is also real. Football turns into public policy for about 5 minutes when England are in a knockout run. The risk is simple. A team trying to stay cold and professional gets wrapped in a national fever dream before Norway have even been dealt with on the pitch. Now we go from national excitement to national anger, because Egypt's exit has not stayed inside the final whistle. This one matters because it has moved beyond social media fury and into a formal FIFA complaint. Egypt files FIFA complaint after Argentina World Cup defeat amid VAR criticism. The complaint is the real story, not the viral noise around it. VAR criticism can be legitimate without turning every bad feeling into proof of a rigged match. FIFA can review processes and reports, but that is a long way from overturning Argentina 3-2 Egypt. France 24 reports Egypt filed a FIFA complaint after Argentina's 3-2 win in the last 16, with viral claims about Argentina and alleged rigging spreading online. Reuters reports the Egypt FA criticized VAR after the World Cup defeat by Argentina. So let us be clear on this. The complaint exists in the reporting, the VAR criticism exists, but the viral rigging claims are not proven facts. This is where football gets messy. A national team goes out, fans freeze frame every decision, and suddenly the timeline becomes a courtroom where everyone is prosecutor, judge, and emotional uncle at the same time. FIFA can examine a complaint, can defend officials, assess procedures, or respond through its structures. What it has not done, based on the supplied reporting, is overturn the result. The uncomfortable point is that VAR was sold as the tool that would reduce arguments, and in matches like this, it often changes the shape of the argument instead. Egypt are out. Argentina are through from that match. The complaint keeps the controversy alive, but it does not rewrite the scoreboard as it stands. The officiating debate around Egypt is one kind of pressure on FIFA. The next story is heavier, because it drags FIFA discipline, politics, and Folarin Balogun's suspension into the same room. Infantino targeted by Olympic ethics complaint after Trump lobbying on Balogun ban. This is not a simple red card argument anymore, it is a governance story. The key question is whether political pressure came near a disciplinary process that must look independent. No finding of guilt has been reported here, and that distinction matters. PBS reports FIFA President Gianni Infantino has been targeted by a complaint to an Olympic ethics body after Trump-linked lobbying over Valérien Balogun's ban. The Guardian reports Andrew Giuliani defended lobbying FIFA over the red card. Balogun is an AS Monaco player, the United States were the affected national team, and the issue sits around a red card ban and FIFA's disciplinary process. This is not done in the way people online sometimes want it to be. The reporting does not say an ethics body has found Infantino guilty. It also does not confirm that the lobbying succeeded. But the optics are rough. Football discipline is supposed to be boring, procedural, and insulated from political phone calls. If that sounds naive, welcome to modern football, where even a suspension can pick up a security detail. Watch what happens next, because this is where FIFA's credibility gets tested in a way fans understand instantly. If a player ban looks open to political influence, every future disciplinary decision becomes a target for suspicion. That is the danger. It touches the Balogun case, the trust around the next red card, the next suspension, and the next appeal. Remember the warning we opened with. France versus Morocco is already tense before anyone touches the ball. Now add the referee appointment debate, and the quarterfinal gets another layer of noise. Deschamps unruffled by Argentinian officials for France-Morocco quarterfinal. Deschamps is right to sound calm, because managers rarely win by feeding referee panic before kickoff. The fan concern is about optics, not proven bias. For France and Morocco, the danger is letting the officials become the story before the match creates one. The Guardian reports Didier Deschamps was not concerned by the appointment of Argentinian officials for France's World Cup quarterfinal against Morocco, describing the situation with the line that France have to deal with the referee team. Some fans have questioned the optics of an all-Argentine crew, according to the reaction around the reports. That is the live tension. Put it this way. Deschamps was never going to walk into this and say, "Yes, we are terrified of the officials. Please make that the headline for the next 24 hours. France need control. Morocco need focus." Both teams know that one early booking, one penalty appeal, or one long VAR check could pour petrol on a conversation already waiting to ignite. But we have to keep the line clean. No bias has been proven. France have not filed a complaint in the supplied reporting. The serious point is that referee appointments at this stage carry political and emotional weight, especially in a quarterfinal already loaded with Saibari's absence, Moroccan belief, and French expectation. While France and Morocco deal with officials and injuries, England's quarterfinal opponent has had a very different problem. Norway's build-up has been hit by camp disruption, and remember, the strongest trap still coming is the yellow card one that could wreck a semi-final plan. Norway forced to leave Florida hotel before England World Cup match. A hotel switch does not win England the match, and pretending it does would be lazy. Still, disrupted preparation before a quarterfinal matters because routines are part of elite performance. Norway's issue gives England a possible edge only if England are sharp enough to use it. Yahoo Sports reports Norway were forced to leave a Florida hotel days before a World Cup quarterfinal. The Independent describes further disruption after illness hit the camp ahead of the England match. The fixture is England versus Norway, and the stage is the quarterfinal. That is the match consequence, not a travel blog complaint about poor room service. If you follow England, this one will tempt you into dangerous comfort. A disrupted opponent sounds like a gift. It might be a small one. But tournament football loves punishing teams that start believing the other camp's problems will do the pressing, tackling, and finishing for them. Norway still have a match to play, and no confirmed report here says players are ruled out. The fair read is simple. Hotel changes and illness can disturb sleep, meetings, recovery, and rhythm. That is real. But it is not decisive by itself. England still have to beat Norway on the pitch, where the bank holiday jokes, the fan confidence, and the camp disruption chatter count for absolutely nothing once the first duel lands. Now to a story with longer-term impact, because not every World Cup consequence happens in the quarterfinal bracket. Croatia are already into the reset phase, and Zlatko Dalic has made the first major move. Croatia coach Zlatko Dalic resigns after World Cup round of 32 exit. Dalic's resignation is a clean ending, not a sacking in the reporting we have. Croatia's round of 32 exit forces a wider question about the cycle around this team. The emotional part is obvious. Supporters are watching an era thin out, one hard tournament exit at a time. UPI reports Zlatko Dalic resigned as Croatia coach after their round of 32 exit at the World Cup. Vanguard also lists Croatia among coaching changes after elimination. The wording matters here. Resigned is not the same as sacked, and Croatia are not still alive in the tournament. Dalic was tied to one of the most recognizable modern Croatia cycles, and when a World Cup ends earlier than expected, the manager often becomes the release valve. If you follow Croatia, this one stings because the debate is about the end of the Modric-era coaching cycle. That conversation is never only tactical, it is memory, identity, and the slow realization that great tournament teams do not stay frozen in their best summer forever. Croatia now need a reset that is honest about age, roles, and the next competitive spine. The worst version would be a nostalgic rebuild, which is basically a contradiction wearing a tracksuit. The next coach inherits a proud national team, but also a hard fact. Croatia's World Cup ended in the round of 32. The United States thread is not finished either. After the Balogun lobbying controversy, there is another disciplinary detail around the US camp, and it adds to the sense that discipline became part of their World Cup story. FIFA suspended 2 US staff members for World Cup match against Belgium. This should not be mixed up with Balogun's player ban. The staff suspensions matter because tournament control is not only about the 11 players on the pitch. For us fans, it feeds a wider frustration that the campaign became tangled in avoidable disciplinary noise. The Guardian reports FIFA suspended 2 United States staff members for the World Cup match against Belgium. The supplied evidence does not name the staff members, so we are not naming them here. It is also important not to conflate this with Folarin Balogun's player ban. Different issue, different disciplinary lane. Still, the pattern is uncomfortable for the United States. A World Cup knockout campaign should be remembered for performance, bravery, tactical choices, and the big moments under pressure. Instead, part of the conversation is now staff suspensions, player discipline controversy, and political noise around FIFA. That is a bad trade if you are trying to build a clean football identity on the biggest stage. Is that harsh, or exactly how elite tournaments judge you? I think it is the latter. At this level, staff behavior, bench control, and disciplinary management are part of the operation. If the sidelines become a problem, the team pays in preparation, perception, and sometimes personnel. Now we zoom out, because all these individual fires sit inside one simple structure, 8 teams left, fixed routes, and no hiding place. The bracket is set, and the path to the final is now a pressure map. World Cup quarterfinal bracket and paths to final set. The bracket matters because it turns dreams into logistics. Every contender can now see the route, but seeing it is also a psychological trap. Quarterfinal football punishes teams that start planning the semifinal before solving the next 90 minutes. CBS Sports-style coverage frames the World Cup bracket through quarterfinal matchups and paths to the final, while Al Jazeera covers the quarterfinal brackets, schedule, and previews. The tournament is at the quarterfinal stage. 8 teams remain. Supporters are mapping possible semifinals and final routes after the last 16 results. This is the delicious danger point of a World Cup. Fans start drawing lines through the bracket as if football is a train timetable. Managers absolutely hate that, because the bracket can make a future opponent feel real before the current opponent has been beaten. That is how teams get caught playing a match in their heads while the actual match is happening at their feet. For Morocco, the route begins with France and an injury problem around Saibari. For England, the route begins with Norway, yellow card risks, and all the national noise around what winning might mean. The bracket is set, yes, but predictions are not results. The next mistake in this tournament may not come from a weak team, it may come from a favorite looking one round too far ahead. And this is the hidden trap inside that bracket. The quarterfinals are not only about who wins, they are about who survives them without losing a key player for the semifinal. Bellingham, Rice, and Olise among World Cup players on yellow card tightrope. Yellow card danger changes behavior, especially for midfielders who live in duels. Bellingham and Rice cannot play scared, but they also cannot be careless. The reset after the quarterfinals creates a brutal incentive: get through one match clean, or risk missing the one everyone is chasing. BBC Sport says Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham would miss a semi-final if booked and England beat Norway. The BBC headline also lists Bellingham, Rice, and Olise among World Cup players on a yellow card tightrope. Under the rules described by BBC, yellow cards reset again after the quarterfinals. That is the key mechanism. This is where tournament football gets sneaky. A midfielder on a yellow card risk has to press, track runners, stop counters, and challenge for loose balls while a suspension is sitting on his shoulder whispering bad ideas. Pull out of one duel, and you might concede control. Fly into one duel, and you might miss a semi-final. Fun little sport this. For England, Rice and Bellingham are not decorative pieces. They shape the rhythm, the pressing, the emotional temperature of the team. If they alter their game too much against Norway, England can become softer in the exact zones where knockout matches are decided. But if they ignore the risk, one mistimed challenge could turn a quarterfinal win into a semi-final selection crisis. So that is the World Cup picture tonight. Morocco lose Saibari before France, England carry national expectation into Norway, Egypt push FIFA over VR criticism, and FIFA's own disciplinary world is under the microscope. The bracket looks clean on screen, but the tournament underneath it is anything but clean. Injuries, cards, officials, hotels, politics, and pressure are all moving now, and the teams that treat those details as background noise may be the ones explaining an exit by the next episode.